7:40, watching Breakfast. Morning to you. Nikki Graham was one of the most memorable contestants to take part in the TV show Big Brother, fondly remembered by fans for her diary room outbursts and her fantastic sense of fun.
Sadly, she also struggled with an eating disorder, and on Friday, Nikki died at the age of just 38.
We're joined now by former Emma. Now, we've heard lots of stories about Prince Philip over the last 3 days, but he also inspired countless more memories through his Duke of Edinburgh's award scheme.
If you did it for yourself, Louise did, you can probably remember the epic hikes, the adventures, yes?
The freezing cold.
Yes, perhaps even some new skills picked along the way. If so, the charity would love to hear from you.
Yeah, we'll get more on that in a moment. First, our community affairs correspondent, Adina Campbell, has been to meet some of those working towards their D.A.V. award in the woods of Hertfordshire. Looking back to my bronze award, and it was only the bronze, but it left me with a real sense of adventure, which I still have, and I don't think I would jump off the back of ferries and do Patagon Man.
So that's why you do all that, is it? Yeah.
That's where direct link to where it comes from.
Oh, there you go. It's in, as you saw from what Ruth was saying there, and the people we heard from before that, it really has inspired so many people to go out there and do different things.
Absolutely. Stay with us. We've got the headlines coming up. Very good morning. Welcome to Breakfast with Dan Walker and Louise Minchin.
The headlines for you this morning. Good morning. It's Monday. It's the 12th of April, and the Prime Minister has urged people to behave responsibly as pubs and restaurants in England reopen their beer gardens and outdoor spaces for the first time in months.
All shops, gyms and close contact services like hairdressers can also reopen, and some rules have been relaxed in Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. Aruna Iyengar has the details.
Let's bring you up to date with the BAFTAs, because Nomadland was the big winner at the awards last night, scooping the gong for Best Director and Best... There you go. And Colin Patterson, our entertainment correspondent, is going to be here in the studio a bit later to talk through some of that and the other highlights from the BAFTAs. He'll be here about 8:40 this morning.
If I ever miss a meeting again, I go, sorry, I was painting.
Yeah, it's a good excuse, isn't it? Makes you sound very prim and proper.
11 minutes past 8. Carol's looking at this morning's weather, and gosh, there's snow about, isn't there?
That's right, Lou. Good.
And we're both one of the many thousands of people who met him as well. And you remember when you met him, what he said to you? Yeah,
I was at a Duke of Edinburgh award ceremony. I was giving a speech, and he came into the room, and it's all, you know, there's so much protocol on these occasions, and I was
very much so, Dan.
Yes, and so the first issue was that I was told that I had to speak for half an hour, and he'd come in at some point, and I'd only been going 30 seconds, and I was told by his aide that he was coming into the room. So I made a joke about the fact that, can he hold on a minute?
Obviously
he just
not.
Started as a joke. Didn't go down well. But then Prince Philip came in, and we were in the line-up, and you told you know, don't start a conversation. But there was so much quiet in a room with so many people in, I just had to speak. So I asked him if
Typical
he was okay.
broadcaster, you've got to fill the
silence.
silence.
It was too painful, the silence. So I asked him if he was okay. He asked me what I did. I said I presented a programme called Football Focus. And Steve Bruce, who's now the Newcastle manager, had just pulled out of the programme that weekend. So I said, we've just had a pull-out. Steve Bruce isn't available. So if you fancy it, there's a spot on the sofa for you this Saturday. He laughed it off with a big smile. His aide wasn't best pleased. I got in a spot of bother for that. What about yours?
So I was also giving out the Duke of Edinburgh Awards on his behalf, because that's what you do, isn't it? And he came up to me, he said, what do you do? And I said, oh, I read the news for the BBC News channel at the time. And he said, don't you get fed up with saying the same thing over and over again? To which I just laughed.
Yes, you just laughed it off, exactly.
But anyway, yeah, you know, he always had something to say to every person he met, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And there was a nice smile on his face on most of those occasions as well.
Yeah.
Well, Prince Philip first met his future wife, of course, the Queen, who was then called Princess Elizabeth, in Dartmouth. And that's where John Maguire is, the slow shops.
I know Matthew, I know them all well.
Sorry about the slight breakup we had with Nina there, but hopefully that gives you a really clear picture of what it's like in Chester and many other town centres are getting ready to open those doors for the first time in an awful long time.
Why don't you send us a message and tell us what you're most looking forward to doing today that you've not been allowed to do?
Someone's having a haircut, aren't they?
All right, now let's get the news, the travel and the weather wherever you are. Able to do things.
A measure of relief there. I don't think every pub will have a master of
ceremonies. I'm hoping when I go to the hairdresser, there's going to be a big gong.
I can announce this hairdressers for you, Louise Minchin, is open.
Fingers crossed. All right, there's history being made at the Masters.
A very busy weekend, wasn't it? Let's find out what's happening with the weather, because Jane's talking about golf. For some, Carol, a few golf courses closed under snow this morning.
Oh,
Monday, see you later on.
Yeah, thank you, Carol.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about the BAFTAs right now, and Nomadland was the big winner at last night's BAFTAs, picking up 4 awards, including the big one, Best Film.
No audience, though. We're used to that now, aren't we? And all the nominees were on Zoom, although Sir Anthony Hopkins missed the moment he won Best Actor because he was apparently busy painting. We promised you that Colin Patterson would be here, and he is in the studio. Colin, it was...
Happened last night. So it was pre-Line of Duty on telly last night. And Colin, you...
Are you televising your haircut
I
later?
will not be televising my haircut today. I'm hoping... I haven't had a text message from them this morning, so I'm hoping they've still remembered.
Be nice to see a fresh bar on the programme. I look forward to that. We'll be speaking to a pair of... Not they look... Oh, dear me, I've tied myself up in knots.
You should just quit.
Why don't you do this? Because I'm just making mistakes this morning.
They're funny, though. Sometimes... Anyway, we'll be speaking to a pair of married comedians in a moment, John Richardson and Lucy Beaumont, who've got a new series of the show based on their own home life.
Yes, we'll see you in a moment.
Back, everyone. The various lockdowns of the last year have been a bit of challenge for many couples.
But the minor irritations of being cooped up together are probably good news if you happen to be a pair of married comedians writing a mockumentary about life at home.
Yeah, lots of material. That's what John Richardson and Lucy Beaumont have been doing. They're back with a new series of Meet the Richardsons. Let's have a look.
We can meet the Richardson now. It must be annoying when people don't get the catchphrase right, John. I understand that entirely.
It must be confusing for people, you know, I mean, because as you say, it's a mockumentary. You know, other people watching it going, what's real, what's not real?
Lucy has been inspired by stuff that's actually happened during lockdown.
Well,
Sorry. That's all right. We've got as well, there's a lot of, we've spent quite a bit of time this morning on breakfast at a pub that's just reopening today. Lucy, how would you describe John's relationship with a pub? Because there's quite a bit of time spent, shall we say that?
Pub in your own back garden?
It's in the garage, yes, and it has a name that...
Look at another clip from this week's episode. We'll come back to you in a second. Here it is. I love the kind of royal we. Tell us about your daughter as well, because she's a big star. Brilliant.
She's been babysat as the kids across the nation are by a TV in a corner, and she's been...
You said with both of you being sort of comedians, is your daughter cheekier than an average? Yes, I can see you both nodding along there, Luke. Here's the deal.
I think it's
yeah.
And well, it's worse as well because you know she's picked that up off you, so you hear your face.
The latest episode of Meet the Richardsons on Thursday, 10 o'clock on Dave.
Here's the deal. That's all from breakfast for today. We'll be back tomorrow from 6.
I accept the deal. Morning Live now with Kim and Gethin.